of 4-H.
Sure.
And those are the two main ones that I encounter, and so I can't speak on any other.
Sure. Well, I think,
Challenges.
that's probably a bad question, and it's a bad question for you from the answers that you provide to the other questions, but, I can see from my own experience that volunteers try to help, but if they feel like they're not useful, if they feel like they're maybe in the way, then they tend to back off and then quit. And people who are really wanting to help are out there not helping because I failed as a leader, to get them involved and to be able to give them the right guidance. So I'd say you don't see volunteers quit for that reason. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I try to keep a very kind of open door policy with my volunteers. If they, I try to talk to them from the beginning that if they have a concern or a challenge that arises, I'd rather them come talk to me about it, whether it's something positive or negative,
Sure.
And see if we can't work through whatever the issue is, because I don't want to lose any. But if there is something more that I need to be doing, I can take constructive criticism very well. And so
that's important.
It is important.
You don't wear your heart on your sleeve, right?
So no, well, I mean, I can get emotional about it, but no, I just, it's the fact that I understand that I always have room for improvement, and that things might not always be perfect.
Sure.
And so I'm human, and so if someone needs something else from me, I just want them to feel comfortable to come to address that with me personally, and then we can work through it together.
Perfect.
That's all you can do.
That's right. That's perfect. And so I think we've already talked about the areas of support that the volunteers need from you as far as you providing them the materials and the modules at time, and then the encouragement of helping them, build their self-esteem. And so would you say there's any other areas, that you just feel is huge that you have to provide volunteers?
I mean, just as far as specific to 4-H?
Yeah, specific to 4-H. And we may have already covered them all anyway.
As far as what the volunteer can participate in?
As far as what you have to provide them in terms of support.
Well, what I do is, not only is it just communication. I mean, communication is going to be your biggest friend, your biggest ally in Extension. You have to communicate with them.
Sure.
But then any of the resources we have as far as educational curriculum or kits or anything like that, then that's going to be available to them. And as far as 4-H goes, any of the resources I have in my office are free. They can check them out and utilize them to whatever they want to fit them in with.
Sure.
And so that shouldn't be a challenge of lack of resources.
Right.
Then it comes down to just support and encouragement, like you're saying,
Sure.
But communication is the biggest.
That's the big one. Okay. Very good. So, and that might lead us to the last question here. If you were to give some advice, and we're talking to people who are, we work with volunteers. We work with parents that volunteer to be chaperones from time to time, and we work with FFA alumni. But I'd have to say that by and large, we do a lot of it ourselves too, when we probably should let other people help us. We could do a better job. And so if you were talking to a group of people that may not be there yet on letting volunteers volunteer, what kind of advice would you give?
Start letting them.
Start letting That's right.
I understand completely what you're saying. I sometimes have a challenge within myself to let go of the reins, so to speak, and allow them to do. But if I'm taking control of it, then I'm not allowing them the ownership they need of the program, and then they may lose interest or lose passion for it. So really and truly, as long as they can fit into our policies and procedures and guidelines of how we operate within 4-H, that let them take the ownership, have the creativity for the program, and just let them go do. And if they experience something and it's a success, celebrate it with them, because you helped them get there. If they do something and it's not quite a success, then you go back to the drawing board and figure out why and start over. But you gotta start letting people take ownership in something that they're interested in, or you could potentially lose them with that. And it's hard. It is. It's hard, and because some people may not do it the same way you do it, but they might do it a different way, and it may not be necessarily that it's a better way. It's just a different way, and so it's allowing them to do that. But you gotta let go, and you gotta stay flexible to what's going on within the program.
Well, I've always heard that delegation is one of the highest forms of flattery, and so real delegation means not jumping in and
Right.
taking it away and saying I should do it better. But,
Well, and some
yeah.
people have a hard time delegating because they feel like they're more dictating probably than delegating. And I think that you just need to be comfortable with doing so, that you're not putting someone out by asking, you're allowing them
Sure,
to take ownership.
sure thing.
Mhm.
Well, Kirsten, thank you very much for talking to us here today,
Thank
and I'm
you.
sure everyone will find this very beneficial.
I hope so.
I know I have.
Thank you.
And we hope you come back and do another video with us someday.
I have to do that.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.